Hey, hey you. Yeah, this video doesn't have any spoilers, so kindly don't spoil any of the games or the comics in the comment section. Thank you, and have a nice day. Oni, the happy-go-lucky drunkards who love to fight and compete at literally anything. They're like those relatives that live out in the boonies and you really don't want to associate with outside of holidays. That being said, what exactly are Oni? The word is often translated into English as demon, because they live in hell and they're usually evil, but that's not exactly right. They aren't yokai either. They're more like trolls or ogres. Oni are primarily known for their incredible physical power and constitution. They're about as broad and brutish as the average EVE Online veteran. Is that joke even relevant anymore? As broad and brutish as, I don't know, a Smash player, I guess? Due to their great strength, Oni are said to be extremely dangerous, and in the past they were known to regularly kidnap and abuse humans who were weaker and smaller than themselves. Oh, I guess they are Smash players then. The only thing that appeals to an Oni more than fighting is, you guessed it, drinking. No booze is too strong for these critters. They'll quaff your trough and walk right off. Since Oni are so resilient, on the rare occasion that they do overdrink, they become impossible to awaken. The home turf of the Oni is Hell. Oni were once residents of Hell where they were employed to torture evil people. But over time they realized that Hell kinda sucks, and they might as well just party along with everyone else. So instead of a prison to punish the most vile of society, Hell became a place where Oni could get smashed, and get smashed. This didn't last for too long, and the copyrights for Hell were acquired by some other jerk. A bunch of stuck-up yokai and gods swooped in, set up camp, and said, "Yeah, so we're like the new management, and we're here to say that you've been doing literally everything wrong, and things are gonna change. Also, you're all fired." Obviously, this didn't go over super well, so many of the Oni who were content with their lives of debauchery struck a deal with the new management. The new contract allows them to stay in old Hell and party it up while, in exchange, they keep the old vengeful spirits in check there. Henceforth, Hell was divided into two different planes, New Hell and Old Hell, and plus a few others. It gets weird, just check out my cosmology video for more on that. So what kinds of Oni exist out there? Well, really only one, but it's got some nuance. While there are no subspecies of Oni, there are many creatures that are closely related to and often conflated with Oni. One such creature is called a Kishin. While Kishin are not Oni exactly, the two species do share many similarities. Both live in Hell and torture evil souls, but keychains are ranked more highly than Oni. They function as both Oni managers and elite assassins. Don't confuse the Kishis with Shinigami though, they're very different. Kishin collects souls of people who are due for death, which is very different from Shinigami, who collect souls of people who are due for death. Well, they are also very different because the Kachuga work directly for the Yama, while the lowly Shinigami work for... They work for the... Look, I don't know. Well, yeah, that's that. There's not a whole lot else to say about Oni, so instead, as per the format, let's dive into a few Oni characters that are prominent in Gensokyo. First that comes to mind is everyone's favorite Japanese goblin, Suica Ibuki. Not to be confused, of course, with Suiki, everyone's favorite waterbending assassin from Hell. That sounds rad, why haven't we got a game of her in it? Anyway, Suica is a very petite Oni who packs a much larger punch than she appears to have. This is because one of her primary abilities is to be able to manipulate the mass of objects. She can add mass to things that are extremely heavy and dense, or remove mass to turn it into fine and wispy mist. This ability can even be applied to her own body, allowing her to thin out into a sick cloud or become roughly the size of a barge. In addition to this strange and otherworldly power, Suica is also just really strong. Some have called her the most powerful yokai in Gensokyo, which isn't really correct because Oni aren't technically yokai, and even among the Oni, she typically claims that other Oni, such as Yugi Hoshiguma, are typically stronger than herself. Like every other Oni, Suica is a massive drunkard. So great is her desire for sweet sake that she created a special gourd that turns water into wine, allowing her to keep up a centuries-old bender that even ESPN admires. Suica also calls herself one of the Shitenno, which are the big four of the mountain. These are 4 Oni who, you guessed it, live on the mountain. Of the 4, we only know about 3. Sometimes you might see them referred to as the 4 Heavenly Kings, which despite being the literal translation, is not all that accurate and can be somewhat confusing. It's also worth noting that these 4 have nothing to do with the Shitenno of Japanese Buddhism, even though some gods from that Shitenno do appear in Gensokyo. A notable Kishin in Toho is not Sagame Kishin. I threw away a lot of time researching this video thinking that Sagame was an Oni, but apparently she isn't, and I just fell down this rabbit hole of researching, just trying to figure out what she is. So first of all, Sagame is not a Kishin, despite having Kishin in the name. It's actually spelled different. Kishin as an Oni is spelled as Oni God using 2 kanji, but Sagame Kishin is spelled with a different kanji at the beginning, and it means Earth God. It doesn't have the kanji for Oni in it. So Sagame is half Earth God, which is where Kishin comes from, but Kishin doesn't actually mean Earth God, it means Rare God, but it corresponds to an Earth God. She's also half Heavenly God, hence the line from Toho 15 where she says that the part of her that's a Heavenly God, but she's not actually a god, she's actually a Lunarian who ascended into a divine status, which is called a Shinrei, which actually shares some of the same kanji with Kishin, but she's only half Shinrei, which is why she only has the 1 wing in the back that responds to her Shinrei half. But she's also like an Amanajaku. She's not actually an Amanajaku. In the song notes, it says that she's a kind of Amanajaku. She's actually not a god. She's above the rank of Amanajaku, but has the same power. And her name is Sagame, which is not based on an Amanajaku. It's based on a god of Amanajaku, or rather a god that Amanajaku is based on. And she's officially classified as a Lunarian in the profile, which makes it sense for her nationality, but not for her species. She was a Lunarian who turned into a Celestial, but not a Celestial. It was a Shinrei, and maybe the Kishin in her name refers to her Lunarian status, because Lunarians are technically ascended humans. I don't know anymore. Help, please. I'm gonna make another video about gods in Toho. I'll probably go over this all again. And it gets weirder. I also thought, while researching this, that Seija Kijin was an Oni, but her name Kijin is not Kishin. It's spelled different. But she has the kanji for Oni in her name, unlike Kishin Sagame. So Seija is actually an Amanajaku, and she has the appearance of an Oni. She's got 2 horns, but she's not an Oni, and she's not a Kishin either. She's actually an Amanajaku, but the last kanji in Amanajaku is the same kanji for Oni, but it comes from a different root. It comes from Amanasagame, which is a god that Amanajaku were based on, and that's why the word Amano comes from. So it literally just means an Oni of Amano. And that's also where the name Sagame comes from, is the name Amanasagame, which is a contrarian god, which is where you get the abilities of contrarian that Amanajaku have. The word piece itself, Jaku, comes from Jaki, which is a kind of Oni in Japanese Buddhism, but not in Shintoism. And it has the kanji for Oni in it at the end. The way it's spelled, it literally means evil Oni, which is kind of redundant. But when you put the 2 kanji together, it becomes a compound word, and it actually just means any disease or great evil spirit. So in mythology, Amanajaku are Oni, but in Toho, they aren't. Okay, so Sagame and Seija are not Oni. That is all. Alright. Okay, well, that's out of the way. So anyway, despite the meandering rants and background information, what did we learn today? Well, Oni suck, stay away from hell, and don't drink with the devil.